it's coming from my heart space, because I know from personal experience, not having the finances to buy bread or food for 3 months and being in such a dark place all alone, that I needed just some light, that I'm creating that light for others, because so many people, especially now with the economy and the world, are going through some difficult times, and we're all supposed to help one another so that we can grow individually and together and become extremely powerful how we're meant to be living. Dance and movement is a form of meditation as well. You go into what some would call a trance, because that saying dance like nobody's watching is because as a dancer and movement specialist, you block out everything that's happening, and it's a form of therapy, because whatever's going on in life, and that's why I'm such an advocate for movement, because it plays such a vital role in your wellness and your not only physical aspect, but your mental health as well. All I went in to get was bread, and she was standing putting the new fresh baked bread on the tray. And I looked at her, but I was sad that day. I was really sad. And she looked at me and she said, "Hello, how are you?" And I just couldn't tell her that I was fine, because I wasn't fine. And I started crying, and she gave me a hug.
We begin this episode with some breath work to connect our energies so that we can become present. Feel free to join in.
Close your eyes. And you're going to empty all of the air out of your lungs, taking a breath in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 2, 3. Breathe out through the mouth like you're blowing through a straw. 4, 5, 6, and hold. 2, 3. Breathing in and hold, and breathe out and hold. Last round in and hold, and breathe out and hold. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. We're going to do 1 round of breathing in. Take a deep breath in and out, keeping the eyes closed. We just call upon our archangels and our angels, our higher selves, beings of the light, to protect us and bring through any information that needs to be shared with any of the listeners and viewers for the highest good of ourselves, as well as the highest good of humanity and Mother Earth. We thank them and give gratitude for this life here and for being able to share what we know. And so it is. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Zen and Now. And today, I'm joined by Jeneé Mocke, founder of Awaken Wave and a transformational coach, blending mindful movement, yoga, dance, and meditation to help people live with love. Let's settle in, take a deep breath in, and let's get into it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kishen. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Just a little bit like I mentioned earlier before we began, it's freezing over here, minus 20s, minus 30s, but we're healthy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's said to be the coldest place on the planet this weekend, Ontario, Canada.
Really?
So yeah. Feel
Are you wearing a
blessed in
t-shirt or
that way.
do you have a sweater?
No, I'm in a t-shirt. Inside our homes, it's pretty warm. So we have central heating, so thankfully for that. But, outside it's pretty brutal.
Well, enjoy it. Sometimes as humans, we're not very grateful for what we have. It's either it's too hot or it's too cold. We never appreciate what we're given. So embrace the cold, because there's many that wish that they could experience that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we always take gratitude in every scenario, and we look for the positives in everything, and that's why we kind of like shed the light on, the darkness that what's once what we went through, there's always light on the other end.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Jeneé, before we begin, getting into the deeper side of life, just a little bit about yourself. And if your listeners who aren't, familiar with you, you just give us a little bit of an intro, of who Jeneé Mocke is.
No, absolutely. So I'm Jeneé Mocke, and I am the co-founder and co-creator of Awaken Wave, as well as the founder of SoulSpark 1111 and Mindful Movement. And as Kishen did mention, I incorporate movement as well as a holistic approach into well-being of the human in this world that we live in. And I'm creating a lifestyle change for individuals so that they can step into their higher power and understand that we have been put here on a journey to heal not only ourselves, but one another and the earth. And I think there's just a misconception on that idea that you are healing and then you're healed. And that's how it goes. But this is a continuous healing journey, and I do guide people through their healing in the most comfortable manner. And I allow them to connect wholeheartedly with their souls through their body, mind, and spirit.
Lovely. And what made you get into, the holistic practices and just helping others?
So I have been in the dance industry for 30 years. I am classically trained and I am a versatile dancer. That was my profession. And as one does follow various paths in this life, dancing is my soul's language through my body, and it isn't something that I will neglect. But I've moved more into connecting with mindful movement through the body with the soul and not just moving the body. And I got into this work because of my own personal journey, as I said, healing. And when you heal, you go through this solitude phase and you feel alone because you almost feel misunderstood. And you don't necessarily want to share with others what you're going through because you may feel our egos come through and you may feel judged and you may feel looked down on with regards to how you're handling your life. And because of that, my own personal experience of my healing is what initiated the work that I'm currently being guided to do.
Yeah. It's I try to understand why we feel that way when we go through those experiences in life. Why do we feel like we're afraid to be judged in that way? But there's such strength that comes out of it. I don't know. You try and understand why we feel like, oh no, this is such a bad thing that we've been through, and to share it just brings uncomfortableness to everybody around you. But when you share it, it becomes such a power story that a lot of people resonate with it. That's what I've picked up from my own journey, is that strength is not just in power. Strength also comes from your own vulnerabilities and sharing it. And I feel, why should we feel that way? Is there something that, you could share with me that may help me understand why we feel that way?
So I heard an analogy once with regards to rebirth, essentially what you are going through, because every time you shed a piece of your old life and your old skin, you are stepping into a new version of yourself. And something that people don't realize is you're continuously changing and you're continuously evolving. And I think it's our predecessors that have made us believe that we need to remain the same. This work the same job and be the same person, you're the same husband or the same wife. And as soon as you change, most would refer to it as a midlife crisis. But I believe that this analogy of rebirth and why we go through it alone is because if you think of birth, a woman giving birth, when she's doing it in a hospital, it isn't something that is broadcast to everybody to witness. It's a sacred practice, and it's a space that you're creating to bring life into the earth. So I do believe that we are supposed to go through the dark night of the soul and our rebirth and the healing, grieving process, because you're essentially losing a part of yourself, and you're continuously learning more about who you are. And I think that it's supposed to be done alone, because it's a sacred space with you and source, if you believe in whatever anyone believes in. But that's my take on it. So when you're going through it, you're not quite understanding that you need to be doing this alone, because you need to find the answers. You need to understand yourself better, and you need to align more with your authenticity, like you say. We feel embarrassed because we're scared of judgment, but when you are vulnerable, people respect you. So it's that vulnerability that you need to step into. So that's just something I heard, and it so resonated with me.
No, 100% correct. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's that personal journey, but we also need to be willing to go through it alone. We have the support, but that journey is your journey. There's nobody going to fix, or nobody's going to come for you and then tell you, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what, it's going to be like, only unless you figure it out and you go through those times when it's like challenging. And then when you come on at the other side, that lesson you take from it, that's the important part. What lesson did I learn from this situation? And, recently that just the setback I experienced last year in November, and it was a very challenging time for both my wife and I. And the anxiety was really high at that time. And actually I reached out to my doctor to actually, up my medication for my antidepressant. And because it was you just couldn't manage it that way. But we have the tools that will allow us to actually just get back to a center, and then you can manage whatever is meant to be in that time. And yeah, I feel like it was the right thing to do, because I made a decision. Nobody else is making a decision for me. And that's what we need to live with. We make the decisions and the choices. And that's when, you make the decision to go on the journey by yourself. It does pay its rewards later on in life. You won't see it immediately, but it does.
And every choice you make leads you to where you land up. And you cannot take or give blame to anybody else. You have to take full responsibility for your own life. And I think that's also what people don't realize, is they start to fall into this victim mentality with regards to their circumstances and, where they've landed up and how their life has turned out. But to a degree, you've made the decisions and the choices that have led you there. And like you say, you are the person who's going to essentially get you out of it. You cannot rely on anybody else to get you out of what you're in. It's the same as relying on somebody to bring you happiness or to fulfill you in life. And that's what that solitude brings you, because you are with yourself. You need to learn how to love yourself. You need to learn how to love both light and dark versions of yourself. And I think that's what scares people. And that's what makes them feel so afraid through those periods.
The light and dark is yin and yang, right? It's the same thing.
Absolutely. We need it.
Yeah, we need the balance.
There isn't anything without. Exactly. It's good, it's evil, it's a superhero, it's a villain. It is a balance. You can't have the one without the other.
Correct. Think of superheroes that we actually watch. There is no hero without a villain, or there is no villain without a hero. It's the same thing.
No, but
sometimes we love the villain more than the hero.
Yes, and the villain in his story, the hero is the villain.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a beautiful, it's when you also start to zoom out and look at life from a completely different perspective, you really start to realize so much about your journey and the unfoldings of everything. And something I've learned within my own personal capacity is everything is happening for your good. It's not happening to you. And there's a saying where nothing is good, nothing is bad, it just is. So whenever
Yeah,
you met with a situation or a challenge, don't think of it as bad and don't think of it as good. It just is.
yeah, yeah. In that moment, we do feel like we're losing control, but it's actually it's just something that's you need to learn, something we need to learn that we haven't already. Um, but that just comes with a lot of inner work, a lot of facing your mirror, facing your inner demons, and you're befriending them as well, not being afraid of them.
Absolutely.
That's
And
what I
it's
learned.
also, it's facing your fear, because fear is what is essentially stopping you from becoming the best version of yourself. If you want to
Hmm.
become, the top athlete, you've got that fear of, oh, but what if I fail? But you've got to think, but what if I win? It's also change is the only constant, which is a saying I live by daily. We get extremely comfortable with our lives. And when something moves out of alignment, we feel unease and we feel discomfort. And that's when we feel shaky with what is happening. But if you become so comfortable with change, anything that comes in front of you, you'll handle with grace. And that's something that I've learned. Because I'm a dancer, I've learned to dance in the fire with the flame.
Yeah, yeah. It's like motion in the ocean, like they say, so to speak.
Yes. Yes.
Like Bruce Lee once said, be water, my friend, because water can be gentle, but it can also be very very harsh. So you got to treat it with the utmost respect.
Absolutely. And I think we
Yeah,
also
and
need
if it
to,
flows, it's
yes,
beautiful.
but it can break rock as well. So water is
Yeah,
fluid, but it's extremely powerful as well. I think just something that people misunderstand with regards to everybody going through their journeys, because we're all here living a journey. We're all here experiencing pain, and we are here experiencing joy and elation and euphoria. And we just need to respect one another. We've lost that aspect along the way, because you really don't know what somebody else is going through. And you are very fast to give judgment and to
yeah,
make assumptions, but we need to all have a much better understanding and inner standing and some empathy, because we are all really truly navigating our own paths. And sometimes they are
yeah,
extremely treacherous. And that's why we've
yeah.
created Awaken Wave, is to align us and to bring us back to unity and not separation.
Where did Awaken Wave, start? Who came up with the idea? Was it your co-owner, or was it yourself?
So it's myself and my partner, Marlene, my business partner. The two of us met and our paths aligned through becoming solar teachers. And through studying, we truly are soul sisters. There is absolutely no doubt about it. And as the connection developed, we started to remember, because that's also something we do, is we remember why we're here. We remember the purpose that we're here to stand in and the truth we need to speak. So essentially what happened was the two of us separately were navigating our own healing journeys. and we were using the same tools in different ways. So what we thought was, how can we amalgamate the two together and bring it into unity, work with one another, because that's also essentially what has diminished over time, is it's become a very selfish road. It's all about, how am I going to gain from this relationship instead of how are we going to gain? So essentially that's what we did. And it's been the most incredible journey, but it's come with its challenges, as everything does. But it's been the most rewarding and most fulfilling path that we've been able to walk together. And it came about, I actually have it, where you can show what it used to look like versus what it looks like. And I'll show you what I used to do. So I'm a firm believer in affirmations, mantras, and speaking positively every single day. And what I wrote just on pieces of cardboard were these affirmation cards. So as you can see, they're very just highlighter, pen. I was like, yeah, look at me. And what has transpired from those is a set of cards. So if you look at the concept, I'm ready for the best year of my life, to what it's actually turned out to look like now, is quite an accomplishment for the two of us. So it's been used, tested, and proven to work in our own healing, and that's why we're offering it to those that are struggling through their journeys.
Yeah. This is something that was also introduced to me by my wife. Affirmations, card readings. And at first I was never the one who would accept these things are real. But, when you go through it and you start to learn, okay, just speaking positively about yourself or to yourself, or you get a message from, like you said, your archangels, or there is a message somewhere there. Actually, right now, during my podcast, I sit with crystals, protection crystals, just so that, I'm guided, I'm supported, and I have a good flow. And some people will think, okay, that's a bit much, but intuitively, we've been doing this all our lives. We ask God for prayer, in prayer. When I used to play sports, you thank those that are looking out for you, that you have a good game. So intuitively, ever since we were born, I think we were doing that. We never accepted that this is part of the holistic side of life. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And I think I'm burning incense as we speak, as well as a candle. So I'm a very intuitive individual, because I've really been in solitude myself, and I've sat with God and with Source, with my angels, and I've been able to connect so deeply that I've become highly intuitive. I've learned a lot, and candles hold a frequency. So the flame of a candle is actually holding the frequency. So through meditation, you can do fire gazing, where you gaze at the flame of the candle that puts you almost into a meditative state. So when you're burning a candle, you are emitting that frequency in the room. So I firmly believe in your crystals. I've got crystals around the room. I've got crystals on my arm, because it's an earth element, and each one of them does hold their own frequency and their own purpose to align you with where you need to be aligned.
Yeah. No, 100%. We actually just bought this massive candle recently, but the energy it's so, sometimes if you leave it on too long, you can feel it like really getting a bit much. So we have to be careful of how long we actually have it on for. But you're right in what you're saying. So certain things, like in meditation, you see different colors at different phases of your meditation. All that's for me, because sometimes you'll see you see that orange, you see green, or you just see nothing. And that's okay, because the perception of meditation is calm, but sometimes it's noisy, and that's okay too. We had to learn how to actually just accept that noise is part of meditation. For me, meditation is exercising, being active, or just moving my body. And for some people, it's stillness. So you find your niche in that way. And you'll be kind to yourself when you are meditating. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes you'll be able to do 20 minutes. But the practice is there just to say, I'm thankful, I'm grounded, and, just help me along for the day or whatever space you are in.
No, with meditation, I wholeheartedly agree with you, because dance and movement is a form of meditation as well. You go into what some would call a trance, because that saying dance like nobody's watching is because as a dancer and movement specialist, you block out everything that's happening. And it's a form of therapy, because whatever's going on in life, you use that tool to release the emotion, and movement allows you to release energies, stagnant energies in your body. And that's why it's so important to move the body through any movement, be it a workout, be it stretching, running, doing yoga, dancing. And that's why I'm such an advocate for movement, because it plays such a vital role in your wellness and your not only physical aspect, but your mental health as well. If you look at how you feel after you do a workout, you feel like you are on top of the world. It is a form of meditation, because I read something today that meditation is now proving to 30 seconds to 90 seconds of meditation is almost having the same equivalent effect on your body and mind as taking a nap. So that's where you said some meditations you take for a minute and it can go up to, I was at a stage meditating and doing a morning routine for 3 hours, but everybody's different days, different happenings, but meditation is so, so important, and it looks different. Washing the dishes is meditation. Sweeping is meditation. Drinking coffee is meditation. So I think people misunderstand that you are actually, you're continuously meditating throughout the day. We're just not realizing it.
Yeah. It's also those healthy dopamine releases that you get throughout the day. For like myself, I've gone also down the path of the dark dopamine hits, and had to learn, okay, those aren't really good for me. Had to taper away from it and find other ways to get those hits. I've always had exercise and sport in my life, but sometimes, you just needed that guidance of where to go. But, I wouldn't change anything in my life to this stage, because we come for a reason. And I think I've shared this many times with, listeners and whoever knows me, is that when 2019, when I was admitted into a hospital for depression and anxiety, there was obviously the stigma around it, that it's a mental hospital. It's what are you doing there? Are you crazy? And that also came from, familiar relationships, family, whoever it was. But I took the 2 weeks to actually just sit with myself, journal, find new ways to cognitively change my way of thinking, therapy. And when I came out of that, I realized, okay, I have a calling in life, that is to help other people who actually gone through similar things that I have, who don't have that voice or who don't have that kind of support. And I feel we go through those moments in life, and those are the moments that actually you as a human being grow, where you start to understand, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And yeah, sometimes we live in moderation. I live in moderation. I don't just go gung-ho one way or the other. It doesn't work for me, because I'll just lose myself. So everything in moderation, even nutrition and food. But that's what I have learned through this journey. Is there something, similar that you have gone through that has allowed you now to accept that this is your calling?
Wow, I've been through quite a bit. I think that's where that's where I say, don't judge people. Be kind, because you don't know what they're going through. So I've actually been through the hardest times of my light when I was shining the brightest for others. So it's taking Robin Williams as an example. He was highly depressed, and he was such a light and such a comedian to the world, because he was so sad and so hurt by life that he wanted to make others laugh because he needed it. So I can relate to that, because I think in essence, let's be quite honest with everybody right now. Every single person has had those thoughts. Every single person has had an experience where they feel so low because of something that's happened. Some individuals, unfortunately, don't hold the light enough that they do go further into the darkness. So I have had multiple instances where I did feel that pain and that ache. And it's something to understand, is it's not just our pain. We're feeling our ancestors' pain as well, because they weren't able to understand what we understand. They didn't have the tools to allow them to get better. And I think that I say this because it's such an important thing to realize, is the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next one. And that's why this healing journey is such an important thing to understand. And that's where my SoulSpark work comes in. It's a lifestyle that one needs to create, because we are going to continuously be healing our entire lifetime. We're going to be met with things that are going to challenge us and put us into that space. But now you and I have developed the tools in order to get out of that space much faster and much more easily. So we are now, our purpose, our calling is because we have lived it, we've experienced it, and we're using what we have learned and what worked for us to help others. And I think that's why I really advocate that every single one of us has a story, and our story is helping somebody else in their story. And that's where our connection and oneness comes from, because your story is helping and inspiring me through aspects of my story, and my story is going to do the same for you. And that's why I think that society has belittled this depression and anxiety, and labeled these things to make us feel as though we can't feel them, and that we need to be in this state of joy and happiness and love, and we've just got to be these happy beings all the time. But there's going to be traffic, and somebody's going to pull in front of you, and you're going to get upset with them, and you're going to have a moment of anger, and that's okay. Children have a moment of irritation and they want to have a little breakdown. Let them have a little breakdown. So I think we've become too hard on ourselves. And I think that we need to just step back for a moment. And I do a lot of inner child work as well, because how would you treat a child going through what you're feeling? And the difference is we are so hard on our adult selves that we stop realizing that we are just children in a body that's grown up.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like you said, most of our sensations do come from our inner child or from our childhood. I think 90% of what you go through in life, if not resolved early on in childhood, you take that with you. And you don't really realize it until you work through it and you understand it. And then that's when you're like, really, okay, I know my source of where it's coming from. I can work through that. And now just recently, I've been on this journey, now, 6, 7, more than that. And only now recently that I've realized, okay, the inner child that was hurt or that felt alone or felt abandoned, that's the child now that was making most of my adult decisions. So you kind of understand, okay, I have you, I understand you, but now it's time for me to take over the reins. And it's a journey, like you said. It takes a while to understand that, but it feels good in a way that you find your source, because I think that's when a lot of us go more into the darkness, like you said, because we don't find that source of the problem, and we just kind of like put bandages over it and try and fix the wound afterwards, but it just doesn't get there. And then that's when a lot of people contemplate, taking their lives or going down some other routes. That there is a way, there always is a way if you are willing to find it or work through it and take the time out. Like you said, be patient with it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Oh, absolutely. And I think as well, when you are living in your truth and your authentic self, that is your inner child. Because your inner child, if you think back, led with absolutely no fear. They said, I want to go and climb that tree, and I'm going to go climb that tree. And they did it. And we stopped living like that. And, I'm sure you will know this because you are South African, but we have a racetrack here called Kyalami racetrack.
Oh, yeah,
so I went there. Yes. So I went there yesterday and I met with a gentleman, and he was showing me the office. And he had all these pictures of all the Formula One race car drivers from the 1800s up till now, tickets, and he had replicas of cars, and he had the front, I don't know what it's called, but it's the front part of a race car. It has
front
a
wing.
name.
Yeah, the front
wing. Yes. So that was up on the wall, and he lit up when he was telling me what each thing was and a story behind it. And my response to him essentially was, you are just a big little boy, aren't you? Because that we don't grow up. Everything we do, and if you look at everybody, a chef that's cooking was once a child who loved to be in the kitchen making food with their parents. And if you look at a race car driver, they were once a child who was obsessed with cars. And if you look at a construction or an engineer, the people that are making these buildings, they were once those guys, those little ones who were building with the Lego and the building blocks. So we've just essentially, we're now playing with bigger toys. And we forget
more expensive toys.
Yes.
More expensive versions of those toys.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I responded to your post yesterday, and about never growing up. It's like, never grow up, because that inner child needs that. It needs that version of yourself. Like for me, if you give me a ball, I'll be happy. That's how I grew up. I always had that ball to play with, and soccer was my love. And you give me that, that's all that makes me happy.
But we also need to do it for the children. Our children need to see, because they don't learn, this learning in a book and all those things. It's lovely, but children learn by example. They do what they see. So if they see you having the best time and being fearless in your decisions and going for it, regardless of what the outcome would be, if you would get hurt, not hurt, But that guts and that confidence is what's going to drive our future generation into becoming the leaders that we need the world to have.
I share the same sentiment. Kids are sponges. They need those kind of positive role models in their, or those visionaries in their life, where a lot of today's day and age is a lot of digital consumption. And we're like growing up. Okay, I was born in the 80s. We had the time where we played outside. We had friends over. We were using our hands to build things, draw things, break things, whatever it was. We just didn't. We had different digital fixations, and TV was like, it was set as a schedule. And I think that was important for us because we couldn't just consume that 24/7. It was at a specific time. You knew, okay, I need to finish my homework. My favorite TV show is coming on at 3. Okay, I'm done. So you got your chores or whatever you've done. Exactly. Yeah, it's something to look forward to.
Because it's not available.
Yeah, 24/7. And I think now, this day and age, we have so much of information at our fingertips. Sometimes we just don't know what to do with it. And I think a fun thing, not fun thing, but something I think lost is the library. We used to go to the library back in the day with our library card, choose some books, but it was an adventure. We'd walk to the library, choose a book, come home, read it, and then that was the time where we got out and also met people and kind of figured out what we liked, what we didn't like in terms of literature, and then also on the sports fields, right? Our parents took us, yes, but most of the time we walked. So we kind of have, that adventure from leaving home to your sports activity, spending time out there and then coming back. And I think if like you said, if you do that with your kids, you've got one kid, right?
Yes, I have a son.
Okay.
He's 7.
Okay. And he's at that critical age now where he's just taking everything in.
Absolutely. And we go to the library. So we don't have library cards. They don't have those things anymore. You have a library number, but we do still go to the library. And something that I've realized and something that I've noticed just with teaching children and in the movement and the anatomy space is the development of the body and how it's changing. So posture is such an important aspect in life. It's how you are perceived. So if you think of somebody who approaches you with slumped shoulders, would you say that they are confident or not? Versus somebody that stands proud and tall. So I believe that posture plays such a vital role in how you are perceived in the world. And the posture of the human being is changing because if you look at this neck alignment, because you're always on a phone or a screen. So I did a postural exercise with some of the children that I was teaching, and I took photographs of how their necks have developed, and I corrected the posture. And then I did this series of photographs and videos to show them, because remember, everything is visual. That's how we learn. It's through visual. So when they looked at it, because they could physically see, they were absolutely in shock because they don't realize it's not an angle that one would really notice because we're always looking in the mirror directly. The front. We're not looking at ourselves from the side. So just as a interesting observation, walk around and look at how people are standing and just look at that. And it is something to really take a little bit more seriously if you are a parent, more specifically. And something that you can do to correct it is have them stand against the wall. And an exercise to do is to actually physically push your head back into the wall so that you can strengthen these muscles around the neck again, because posture is becoming a very serious deterioration. Because, like you said, you were walking to the library, you were walking to the park. we're not doing that anymore. So the physicality of the development of the human being is something to take a little bit more seriously. And I think that parents should be more mindful with regards to that and take your children outside more, because they also need the sun, the energy from the sun, the light, because they're not used to it.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's the power of having the digital age, is you can instantly correct something like that, and show it in real time and not wait for, the results. I think so that's the positive side of having, our devices. You can use, like you said, you can use it for evil, or you can use it for, positive, educational activity. And I think that's something probably I would try as well later. Just try that exercise, because I struggle with my lower back, so posture for me is very important right now. So to actually like strengthen that, so you're always mindful of that every time we kind of like do an activity, because when you're younger, you don't really take too much of care of, you just free willy, and then you just not to be free willy, but I mean, you're just free spirited in that way.
Yes.
And you push your body, you push your body to its limits, because you're going to heal faster. But as you age in life, things take a little bit longer than usual.
But I think it's also a mindset, because I've been very conscious throughout my life of training my body and the limits that I can reach. And something that we must also understand and realize is our human capacity is insurmountable to what you can think and believe it can do. You look at Ripley's Believe It or Not, and you look at the world's, the Guinness World Records, and what the human is capable of doing. And it's that mindset. It's, if you put your mind to something, you can achieve it, no doubt. And when you said that you'll practice your posture and, be a little bit more mindful of it, with moderation as well, with the dark and the evil for technology, is how you said it. Everything's in moderation with what you're eating. But something that's interesting, and it's an observation I've made because I've been in the movement space for such a long time, and I pick up on things. So I will note a lot and make various observations that not many would think of. And if you had to take people of all ages, different backgrounds and cultures, and have them sit with their legs in front of them with a straight back, majority of the people will struggle. And it's such a simple posture that's been lost in transit, and the development of your core as well as your back, which are integral, and they are working with one another with your posture. And I get very passionate about the body, because it's our vessel, it's your temple.
Yes.
And we've taken for granted what we are and what we have. And the only time you realize that is when you don't have it. So when you get sick, you get so frustrated and you realize, oh my word, when I'm healthy, I must have a little bit more gratitude for being able to move around and run without getting out of breath. So I think we just take for granted every single day what our bodies are doing for us. And something I teach children, at the end of a lesson, we actually sit in that position with our legs in front of us, and we kiss our knees because it's a hamstring stretch, but we say thank you to our legs. I don't think anybody listening has ever said thank you to their body at the end of the day for carrying them through the day.
Yeah.
And it's it really is something that you should look more deeply into, is that gratitude for the most simplest thing, which is just you.
Yeah. It's like, you thank your car from taking you from A to B safely. It's the same thing with our bodies. I think to get us through that day safely, you thank yourself. You go to bed safely, you are safe in your home. And I think, like you said, it's all just comes to gratitude. End of the day, you're just thankful for the vessels and for the opportunities that we have in life. And sometimes we lose focus, we lose track of that. And we're not saying we're perfect. We get it wrong sometimes, but it's acknowledging when it does go wrong. Okay, in that moment, what was I doing? And trying going forward, just improve yourself a little bit more, so that those kind of, like you said earlier, you get to resolve those issues a bit more quicker than usual.
No, absolutely. And I think, it's a practice that I've accumulated over my healing journey, is the first thing in the morning to say thank you, because you've woken up. Not many people will wake up. And it's that gratitude before you go to bed again for anything that has happened that day. And some days you feel like, oh man, I'm not grateful for anything because today was just a really terrible day. But just be grateful for something small, because it's when you live in that gratitude where life does feel a little bit more hopeful than you think it is.
Yeah. I mean, we're always thinking of the worst case scenario when something happens. But if we just take the time out to process it, eventually your solution comes to you. You don't have to actually go and look for it. Because the more we go looking for something, the more we're not going to find what we're actually looking for. And, just recently something happened to me is where just mobile banking, I couldn't log in. And nothing is working, password resets, nothing. And eventually, just this morning, I got, somebody from the bank to email me to say, hey, we'll look at this on Monday. But I didn't actually expect that to happen, but it did, because I said, like, okay, whatever was to happen will happen. And when the time is to be resolved, it'll come to you. And that's where I think I've trusted the universe a bit more lately. Figuring out, okay, not everything is going to be what you think it is. It's just, it'll hit you when you least expect it. And I think that's where your dance also, because I'm pretty sure you've gone through so many challenges with dancing, setbacks, injuries, you couldn't perform at some point. I'm pretty sure that happened to you. And you probably felt in that moment just really frustrated, because it's a long, hard process to choreograph, to practice. And when you can't actually get to perform, it does take a lot out of you. Was that
It's
the time when
shattering.
you, yeah.
And you take so long to build the strength and the stamina for whatever you are performing or what you're working towards, and you lose it so quickly. If you are injured and you are unable to train, that 1 week off is all the work that you've done lost so fast, and you have to basically start again. But
Yeah.
I think that it's a beautiful gift to be able to understand. Again, I go back to this journey that we're on in life, that we'll always be met with setbacks. And I think it's who you have of the utmost importance that's going to be there for you during those setbacks. And it's how you will present yourself through those setbacks. And something that I've deeply had to learn very painfully is those people that were with me during setbacks. I always chose to present myself with kindness, regardless of what was being given to me in those setbacks, because I really do believe that love is the only way that we should live. And I think that all of us are just these wounded children, and we do just need love. And we look at the individuals that haven't made such great decisions, where they've chosen violence and they've chosen pain and hurt. Those are the people that you should actually give more love to. They're the ones they're calling out for love.
For help.
And those are the people that we're mean to. So they continue to behave the way they do, and they become worse, and it becomes aggravated. So I think that we must understand through those setbacks that really it's who you have around you. And it's just, you don't know if somebody really needed your hug or your smile or just anything. You know, I walked into the shop the one day during one of my pain moments, and the question that I really, it hurts when people ask, "How are you?" Because it's not really a question, because some people don't really care how you are. They're just saying it out of courtesy. And how we answer that question is also, "I'm good. How are you?" "I'm good." It's just it's a formality. And this woman, shame, bless her heart, all I went in to get was bread. And she was standing, putting the new fresh baked bread on the tray. And I looked at her, but I was sad that day. I was really sad. And she looked at me and she said, "Hello, how are you?" And I just couldn't tell her that I was fine, because I wasn't fine. And I started crying. And she gave me a hug. A complete stranger gave me a hug. And that's all I needed. So again, it just comes back to that love. And, we do live in a world where there is such pain. And I think that's why we're here, you and I, as part of a massive, massive collective that have been through some really dark pain. That's why we are so passionate about what we're doing. So I just want to say that I honor you. I honor you for your journey. I honor you for what you've been through, and I honor you for how you have come through that. And sometimes we don't hear that either, because we do just need some acknowledgement, and we must honor ourselves at the same time. We must honor who we were yesterday, and who we were a month ago, and who we were a year ago, because we are growing. And I think as humanity, we need to come back to that.
Yeah. No, thank you for that lovely gesture of acknowledgement. It really makes my heart really full. And I know that what I'm doing right now is the right thing, for not just for myself, but for others as well. Because it's a selfless act to share your pain. It's never easy to talk about these things, because sometimes, you're probably not at that stage where you're ready to share. Like you said, you couldn't tell her how exactly you were feeling. Your emotions, your body language spoke for you. And I think one part caveat of that is communication is something. If somebody asks you exactly how you're feeling, just say, "Yeah, today is not a good day." That alone will just spark an interest of, okay, it's not just a generic, he's actually saying how he feels. So now I kind of put it in ratings. I'm like, today is a 6 out of 10 so far, So it sparks that interest. Give somebody just a humorous side of how you're feeling, because sometimes you just don't know how to articulate it. And then tomorrow you'll say, today I'm 9 out of 10. So people know that you're actually feeling better. And
Yes.
just simple things like that, instead of just the generic, I'm good, how are you? It goes a long way to understanding, okay, exactly who you're communicating with in what stage they are in that moment.
It's also a
And what
little
is
bit more
actually needed.
personal. It's personal because it's become such a generic question and answer that sometimes, I'm sure you've noticed, I ask you, how are you? You say, I'm fine, and you? I say, good, thank you, and you? Because I haven't even realized that you've already told me how you are, that I'm asking you again. And it becomes so, it's a real, I really deeply resonate with that question, because if someone asks me how I am, and I know our conversation started that way, my response is always, I'm blessed, I'm grateful, I'm happy. I'm not having such a great day today, but it's an honest, I think we've also just, we feel as though we need to be these specific people for others to perceive us. And I advocate this mask wearing, because there's a lot of people that wear masks. And where I spoke about my intuition and how I have become quite highly connected, I can read people. I can see you. I understand who you are, what you are, what's going on with you. And I can tell if you are lying, if you are, not okay. So I think that we must just, if you look at your circle of people, your people, and you are yourself, they love you, don't they? Like, they really love who you are. And every single one of us is so unique that people around you love who you are, because you are being who you are. You're not trying to be somebody else. And that's the same with children.
Or is it that is that the version that they think they love about you? Sorry, I'm just trying to understand.
No, so I'm just myself. And I was sitting last night for dinner with a friend at a very prim and proper establishment. So prim and proper establishments, sometimes you've got these very prim and proper people. You get what I'm saying?
Dining
So now,
experience.
yes. But why? Because I can see that that's not who you are. When you get home and you put your sweatpants on, you are probably dancing around like some weirdo about to sit on the couch and chill. So why are you sitting here speaking? So at the restaurant, I was myself. I was truly, and we were in stitches at the table, because I show up as me. So this is what you get. And if you don't like it, then again, that's something that people misunderstand, is if somebody doesn't like something about you, it's not you, it's them. They don't like something about you because of something in their life, because we are all mirrors of one another. So if I don't like something about you, I need to look myself and ask the question, but why don't I like that about him? So
that's where bullies have that tendency.
It's projection. It's complete and utter projection. And when I say, when I come back to children, I always come back to children. Any conversation I have is because a child, and again, because I've just been around them, I almost have this radar that children see me and they are attracted like magnets towards me. But because I am living with my child leading, but children say it how it is. Children will look at you up and down. If you're standing in the shops in the line to buy something and there's a child in the trolley, they are almost death staring you. But we don't.
Yeah, children see things we don't. That's the truth.
Yes. And they say the truth as well. So I think just as adults, we just need to step more into that being and stop pretending so much.
Yeah, my wife always uses the analogy, that because like myself as well, people are drawn to us. We easily conversable with, and they're like, her mom too. So she's always like, you guys smell like breast milk. People are attracted. You guys you attract that, the wanting for the boob, but yeah.
But it's because you're pure, you're living with your essence, and the children see that. So animals and children sense things. They can tell, when a baby cries, when they go to somebody, they can sense your energy, if you're tense, if you're not tense. So I think when you are living authentically and children are naturally gravitating towards you, it's because they relate to you. And whenever I've also been around children, I treat them like people. I don't speak down to them. And I also, when I speak to them, I get on their level. So I come down to their eye level and I speak to them so that they don't, because imagine how big we look to them.
Yeah.
And how scary that must be.
That's pretty cool that you do that.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool because they feel equal to you. They don't feel as if they're speaking to somebody, higher up or lower down in that spectrum. You kind of at their level, and I think they appreciate that. In speaking of SoulSpark, you mentioned something about SoulSpark 1111. You just kind of like explain what that means.
So SoulSpark 1111 was birthed again from my journey through pain and heartache and lessons and cycles and the decisions I made to lead me where I was. And I come back to the lifestyle that one needs to create, is because it is a lifestyle. It's a continuous, disciplined lifestyle. So if you want to be healthy, you have to be disciplined in how you eat, disciplined in how you move your body, disciplined with what you're reading if you want to become more eloquent and have your vocabulary grow. So I've created a environment that is a lifestyle, because there's so many people that offer courses, which could be a 21-day transform your body or a 30-day affirmations. And then after those 30 days or 3 months or whatever the period of time is, people then just fall straight back into their old habits and it becomes seasonal. So it's always when it's a new year and summer or spring, they want to jump back into this healthy mindset, whereas it should be throughout the year. And if you can maintain that consistency, then you won't fall into the darkness because you're keeping your frequency and your vibration high. So the soul spark is because it's sparking your soul. It's bringing you up. And 1111 is the angel number. I'm very connected to angels. And it's the manifestation hour. So if you see 1111, you make a wish. So it's providing people with the spark through their darkness to make a wish to become the best versions of themselves. And I just believe that there's many individuals that have learned a lot through their journeys. They've written many books and they've created many courses. And I believe that there are people that are not able to access this information and this knowledge. So I'm making it accessible for every single person, no matter where you are in your journey. And it's donation based because it's it's coming from my heart space, because I know from personal experience, not having the finances to buy bread or food for 3 months and being in such a dark place all alone, that I needed just some light, that I'm creating that light for others, because so many people, especially now with the economy and the world, are going through some difficult times, and we're all supposed to help one another. So that's my gift to humanity, and it's growing into something where it's aligning with Awaken Wave and what we've built and created. And essentially the bigger vision of it is to allow humanity to be all on the same vibrational frequency, doing these practices daily, so that we can grow individually and together and become extremely powerful, how we're meant to be living.
Like you shared with me, and I'd like to share with you, is thank you for showing up. I acknowledge you, and thank you for putting yourself out there to the world and allowing people to know that there is hope, and you're creating that space for them. So thank you for that. I think I think you should be really proud of how far you've come. And I just want to acknowledge that, for yourself. So thank you for sharing your journey with us today. We, like you said, we don't know each other from above. So, but when you're calling, and when your people, like they say, you'll know you when you see your people, kind of, in a way, whether you are, 1,300 kilometers away, or 13,000, kilometers away, or on the other side of the planet. I'm so blessed and grateful that, I got to actually, connect with you in that way because I feel, when I saw your page, it was just energetic, you were being you, and a lot of that is lost nowadays. And, you kind of realize, okay, we'll have a short time on this planet, and you just have to make the most of it. At times when it does get challenging, you kind of get through those phases much quicker. So what you're doing with, SoulSpark and Awaken Wave, and with your business partner, I think you guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And I think that I just show up for myself every single day, because what I've come to realize is we need to live in the present moment. And we sometimes just get so wrapped up with everything that's happening around us in life that we forget what's truly important. And again, just coming from a space of inner standing, of that, not looking for happiness in external things and fulfillment, is because we come to this earth with nothing, and we'll leave it with nothing. So truly realizing what's really important is what will fulfill you. And when I post on my page, I'm just showing up as me. So some days I'm in my pajamas dancing in the rain. And then there's some days where I'm really like in a bad mood, in a tracksuit, but I'm showing up for others. But I'm being real, because I think people misunderstand that, again, there's happy days, there's sad days, there's angry days, there's irritable days, and that's just who we are. We don't have to show up as happy all the time, and we don't have to be angry all the time. We just have to find a really beautiful balance. And I'm so fortunate, because 6 years ago, I asked for my soul tribe and my soul family to find me. And through the darkest times, they're slowly arriving. And I can truly say that you are one of those individuals. And I'm so looking forward
Thank you.
to the work that you are doing and what we can do together, because I believe that we need to start working with one another to create a better world and stop working against each other. So thank you for aligning in this timeline with me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And if people want to get in touch with you, want to connect with you for Awaken Wave, how can they do that? And where can they get in touch with you?
So we have a website. It's awakenwave.com. And I am on Patreon, Jeneé Mocke, and I am on Buy Me a Coffee. And all the links to the daily sparks you can find on all my social media handles. It's just my name, Jeneé Mocke, and my LinkedIn, my Linktree, account is where you can find all the links.
Perfect. And I will leave links in the description below as well for listeners who want to actually get in touch with Jeneé. And, I love having these conversations because every time I learn more about myself, through other people as well. It's therapy for me as well, because I used to internalize quite a lot, but to speak to, your truth and speak to other people who actually are going through similar things, it makes you feel, like we said, we're not alone on this planet. We come alone, yeah, but during that time, we have to also have connections that are soulful, that are impactful, that are positive, and that will also call us out on our BS when we need to, because that's a true person, that's a true friend, right? And you won't take it too hard. And I think a lot of us, we get too offended when we get spoken the truth, but we have to know it's somebody actually seeing something that you don't see.
It's because they see the potential in you, so they want to push you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you,
for
Kishen,
sure. And that
truly.
thank you for that. And I want to also thank my wife for being that person for me as well. She's never shied away from telling me the truth or showing me the truth. And, I do the same for her now. So I think we've learned to understand each other. And sometimes, yes, we're going to argue, we're going to fight, and it's just part and parcel of it, but we don't hold it against each other anymore. It's just because in that moment, we're just expressing how we feel. And I think that's what's healthy.
And just by being you in each other's company, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great.
Yeah.
It's finding those people.
There were those times. There were many of those times. But we're thankful. And, I want to, before I go, I just want to say, guys, Jeneé has taught us so much about living our truth, living us, being ourselves. It's a very important lesson. And if you're one struggling to kind of find that way, just little by little, just start doing the things that you feel comfortable with and you feel in your gut. I think the gut would never fail you all the time. If it's something that you feel, do it. Yourself will thank you later on in life as well. But be yourself today. I think that's the lesson I take away from today's chat is be yourself. That's it.
Absolutely. It's the only way.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jeneé. I really appreciate you taking the time out today, to chat with me and to share your experience with my audience. Any last words you want to leave the audience before we wrap up?
I do. I need you all to stop being so hard on yourselves and look at yourselves as you would look at a child. See the child inside of you and start treating yourself with much more care, love, and understanding. And I also want you to know that you are not alone through your journey. You can reach out to people. You don't have to do this alone. And there are individuals like Kishen and myself and many others that can help guide you and support you. And I'm everybody's number one cheerleader. And it's just about understanding or being more understanding as well. And you are loved and you are seen. And I think that we all just need to understand that. So that's what I want to end with.
Thank you so much, Jeneé. Thank you guys for listening in today. You guys know the drill. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You will also find my links in the description below. Follow me on all my social channels. Share it. It's just gonna help me bring you a lot more inspirational people like Jeneé to the show. And like, share, and subscribe again. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay zen. Thank you.